I advise parents, no social media for teens.
Failure, disappointment doesn't fit that model at all.
We need to return to those core Christian truths, as Dr. Martin Luther King said, that anybody can be great because anybody can serve.
It's so hard though, if your goal is to be famous and your goal is this, I'm the star of social media. So to walk humbly with your God is break free of self-preoccupation, and now the world of value opens up to you.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. In this clip, Dr. Leonard Sachs and Bishop Barron are having a deeply biblical and countercultural talk about humility. They are connecting this virtue to our social media age. How do we cultivate humility in our lives and the lives of our young if everybody is so obsessed with broadcasting the self? Let's roll the clip and we will interact with it along the way.
It's so hard though, if your goal is to be famous and your goal is this, I'm the star of social media, well then failure, disappointment doesn't fit that model at all.
Well, this gets back to the point I'm making that American culture has become a toxic culture, that we need to return to those core Christian truths, as Dr. Martin Luther King said, that anybody can be great because anybody can serve, that God lifts up the humble. And I have a chapter about the virtue of humility. And again, I'm not just preaching here. Again, my brand is evidence-based, and we have good research showing that the child who is most humble, and we know how to measure this, the child who's most humble at age 15 is the adult who's most likely to be happy and content at age 25. Whereas the kid with bloated self-esteem at age 15 is the adult who's most likely to be resentful and frustrated at age 25. So you want to teach humility. And what does that mean? And again, I was at a Catholic school talking to they asked me to do a homily. I chose Micah chapter 6. And I explained to the kids, in the 6th chapter of Micah, the prophet is saying, what does the Lord require of you? You got to dot the I's and cross the T's? No. Here's what the Lord requires. To do justice,
love mercy,
kindness, and walk humbly with your God. So I said to the kids, these are middle school kids, I said, walk humbly with your God. Well, what does that mean? Humility. I said to the kids, raise your hand if you think you know what the word humility means. So Wade raises his hand and he says, humility means trying to convince yourself you're dumb when you know you're smart.
No, on the contrary.
I said,
on the contrary.
no, that's not humility. That is psychosis. That's a detachment from reality. I said, try this on. Humility means being as interested in other people as you are in yourself. And this is a Catholic school with verses from Scripture chiseled into the walls. But the kids are giving me a blank look. They've received no instruction.
Let this be a great warning for us all that you can frequent the right places but not be learning and growing in the ways of the Lord. I found the example dialogue between Dr. Sachs and this young student helpful. The student said humility is...
Humility means trying to convince yourself you're dumb when you know you're smart.
No, on the contrary.
I said,
on the contrary.
no, that's not humility. That is psychosis. That's a detachment from reality.
The doctor says that this isn't humility. This is psychosis, or a detachment from reality. St. Thomas Aquinas said humilitas veritas. In English, humility is knowing the truth, i.e. reality. It reminds me of the old adage, don't think less about yourself, just think about yourself less. Or how the doctor puts it, be as interested in others as you are yourself. However, I wanted to add one more little nuance to this discussion, and then we'll listen to Bishop Barron's response. I believe it's possible to be interested in others and what they are doing too much. You see, social media isn't just about broadcasting ourselves. We can also be constantly coveting what we see in others. In the past, we used to covet other people's real lives. Now we are busy coveting the fantasized world they create. I think we need to be on guard that this is really dangerous as well.
That I think is really wise stuff, and we're getting out to solutions. We've been naming the problem different ways. I think you're dead right about that. Look, in our spiritual tradition, this is Augustine, it's Bernard, it's John of the Cross, where they say, what are the 3 most basic virtues? The answer is humilitas, humilitas, et humilitas. And what it means, and you're suggesting correctly, is not, self-reproach or I'm nobody. Humble means I've broken free of the black hole of my self-regard that draws the whole world into me. I break free of that so I can be immersed in reality. So Aquinas says humilitas veritas, right? Humility is truth. I get out of this self-preoccupation into the world. So it's I'm lost in the wonder of the simplest thing. That's the humble person, right? So to walk humbly with your God is break free of self-preoccupation. And now the world of value opens up to you under the aegis of the supreme value, the summum bonum, we call God, right? So now I can launch my life into that great adventure. That's humility. And so you're absolutely right. And all these things that are militating against humility and are drawing us more and more into this. That's why like this whole selfie, culture, that whole gesture of looking back at
Social media.
myself.
Well, this
Looking
ties
out.
back into your comments earlier about social media. Social media is anti-humility.
Yeah.
And this is
Yeah.
not a guess. When,
Yeah.
when scholars study how American teens use social media, it's all about me.
Right.
Here I am at the mall.
Yeah.
Here I am with my friends. It's
successful
all
and
about
happy I am.
broadcasting the self.
Yeah.
And it is the anti-humility. I mean, conceivably, you could use social media to talk about the plight of the homeless, but that's not how American teens are actually using it. And this, again, is why I advise parents no social media for teens.
That seems like a staunch stance, but I also understand it. The online world really is like the wild, wild west. You have to navigate it with caution. I do think that social media can be great to learn if you approach it with a humble mindset. It's also a great opportunity to cultivate gratitude and appreciate the good things that happen to others and see parts of the world or new ideas that you would never encounter if you were just shrouded within your 3 miles square that you inhabit. If you think about it, the online world has provided an opportunity for learning that only the aristocrats of old had. And for that reason, I think it's well worth it. But then again, you must proceed with caution, just like anything in life. And that's the key. It's just like anything in life. Life requires all of us to make the right decisions amid much turmoil. Everywhere you look is depravity, and the only way forward is to be a saint. I think often we think that the online world has made things worse, when in reality, all it's ever done is just change the form of the depravity. The answer is still the same: belong to Jesus. Cultivate the inner life by partaking of the divine nature, as 2 Peter talks about. Saint Mother Teresa said this: "If you are humble, nothing will touch you, neither praise nor disgrace, because you know who you are and whose you are." Or how about Jesus in Matthew 23:12? "Whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and whoever humbles himself will be exalted." So the way up is down, and the way through is eyes fixated upon him, Jesus, not all the distractions all around. All right, I think we'll leave it there. Remember that Christianity is Christ, and without him, there is no Christianity. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
I advise parents no social media for teens.
Failure, disappointment doesn't fit that model at all.
We need to return to those core Christian truths. As Dr. Martin Luther King said, that anybody can be great because anybody can serve.
It's so hard though if your goal is to be famous and your goal is I'm the star of social media. So to walk humbly with your God is break free of self-preoccupation, and now the world of value opens up to you